If you want to get more quality freaking leads into your online coaching business, you've got to craft a high converting message. Meaning you got to say the right words in the right way to the right people and then plug those words into strategic content. When you could do that, you will start getting a lot more people, of the right people, inside of your inbox being like, I need to work with this person. Like, tell me more about what you do. And so I'm going to walk you through over the next few minutes some different ways that you can position your message. You can maybe take and refine your existing message, and you can come up with better words, the right words, more powerful words to be able to get more people, of the right people, in your inbox. So I remember when I was franchising my gym, and we had done pretty well in our gym. I had built a pretty solid base. We had exactly 298 members. I remember when we hit that. I was like, we're 2 away from 300. And I was approached by a guy that was wanting to invest in our gym to take it to a franchise. And I remember we ended up doing it. We went through like probably 8 months of, the paperwork and trying to figure out if this was the right move. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But during the process of franchising the gym, I had to really figure out how to better position myself so that way I can actually sell franchises, because it's a very competitive market in the fitness space. And during that process, I learned a lot about messaging and a lot about positioning yourself differently. And I'm so grateful for that experience, even though, again, spoiler alert, the franchise thing didn't end up working out. We ended up going 45K in debt, and that's a story for another day. The reason I share that is because I learned a valuable lesson during that time of like really being, is I had done pretty well. I positioned my gym pretty well. We were the only 45-minute outdoor fitness center. We were the only outdoor gym that was actually fully equipped with dumbbells and barbells, and we had a Ninja Warrior setup out there. We had like sleds, and it was really cool. And so we had done pretty well, but we had to take it to the next level. And I remember I took a lot of those same principles when it came to messaging and saying the right words in the right way to the right people to my online business. And we were able to position our fat loss company as like the stubborn fat. I was the stubborn fat loss guy. Like, and people knew me for that, from metabolism, and I was really able to create some unique positioning and unique messaging around that. And so I share that with you so there's some context to like what I'm sharing with you. And I've generated over $1 million at this point from these practices that I'm about to share with you. And our average client coming in, even with a small audience, will get about a 200% increase in the amount of inbound leads that they get. And sometimes that means on average 2 to 5 inbound leads a day for them. Sometimes that's if they have a little bit of a bigger audience, like 5 to 10,000, maybe 15, 20,000. They'll get like, 10 to 20 inbound leads coming in. But I'd say like if you take these practices that I'm about to share with you, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get at least 10 to 15 inbound leads coming into you organically every single week. Not super challenging, even if you have an audience of less than 5,000 people. And so the first thing to understand here is the human brain is wired off of story, right? People follow narratives, they follow stories. This is why people get sucked into like Netflix shows, and they want to continue to watch show after show after show after show, because they get bought into the characters, they get bought into the plot, they get bought into what's going to happen next, because there's effective open loops, and there's a lot of other principles that are at play there. And we want to be able to do that same thing with our brand messaging and the strategy that we use. And so I'm actually doing a workshop on this at the time of recording this, in just like less than a week, about 6 days. And so if you want to be able to see that workshop where I'm going to go fully in depth and help people actually customize high converting, what we call magic messages, then just look for a link down below, and might be able to find something there. But the first thing that you have to do is understand who the character is. And in the character, the main character in your brand isn't you, okay? It's your ideal client. And so I want you to think about, who is that ideal client of yours? I want you to get really specific. Like maybe let's actually think of one person, like an actual avatar. Maybe it's Mary, a 38-year-old mom of 2 who works in corporate America for an insurance company, and she, so like get really specific, right? And she's battling her health and her weight with her demanding career and her mom life. right? Get really specific. And then I want you to think like, what are those external challenges that she's having, or in your case, your ideal client. What is the external challenge that they're having? What is the internal conflict, right? What's that internal turmoil? So maybe external, it's like she's facing a demanding career. She has like her weight's increased by about 30 pounds, and she gets home and she's just exhausted and she has to make dinner for the kids and whatever it is. Like, get really specific here. And maybe internally she feels a little bit depressed. She's feeling sad. She's feeling not confident. She's feeling like a failure maybe to herself. And then once you've like truly identified who that character is, I want you to think about the struggle. I want you to think about the actual struggle. Just like in any story, the character is going to go through struggle. All right. And so we want to break down the specifics. What are the things that your character, what are they complaining about, right? What are the main pain points and symptoms that they're currently experiencing in their life, right? What are the actions that they're taking now, maybe not taking in some cases, to try to solve those problems, those pain points, those symptoms, right? And then what specific beliefs do they have that are limiting, that are keeping them stuck where they're at? So for example, let's keep using this, what did I say her name was? Mary, this 38-year-old mom, the career-driven mom. Maybe she's complaining about she doesn't have time to work out because of XYZ. She's complaining about her weight. Rudy, stop. So I'm not editing that out. My dog's eating grass. Maybe she's complaining about those things, right? Maybe her pain points are like she has belly fat hanging over her just protruding that she can't get rid of. And she has these love handles, and that some symptoms are that she's just constantly tired and feeling burned out, right? And then maybe some action she's taking. Maybe she's like, trying what her coworkers are trying. She's trying this like XYZ diet, or she's trying to go, running, at 5 a.m. before her kids are up or before work. She's running a couple miles. You want to get really specific here with like what your person is actually doing. And then maybe she believes that it's too late, or that there's not enough time in a day, or that maybe it's her genetics, right? So get really specific. And so once you've identified the character and you've identified the struggle that she's going through, or your ideal client's going through, you want to start to think about what is the villain at play here, right? Just like in any story, there is a villain. There's some kind of protagonist that is to blame, right? We gotta destroy them. And so in your brand's messaging, you want to be able to think about that villain. And so the villain typically comes from the false actions and beliefs they're taking, right? So let's say the villain in our example case here is the restrictive diet trap, right? We just want to put a name on it, And if you think about let's think about a superhero movie. Let's think about Batman. Everybody should know Batman, right? Let's pretend that like people were just destroying the city of Gotham, but there was like no villain. It was just like bad guys, and you just didn't really see faces. You didn't know names. It wouldn't be as real. You know what I'm saying? But whenever you could put this like, oh, it's the Penguin. It's just like crazy dude with an umbrella that like has penguin, right? Or it's Bane. He's this crazy guy that lives in the sewers that has his mask on. It starts to become more real. You see what I'm saying? And so we want to put a name to this villain because it makes it more real. Okay. And then we want to be able to think about what's the turning point. And maybe if you're solving problems that you've already solved for yourself or for others, what is that common turning point that they like, the moment of realization that they need to know? Maybe it's that they don't need a lot of time for their workouts. They just need to make sure they're doing short, effective workouts that cater to their schedule. It's going to be different, right? But what is that turning point? Maybe that epiphany that you had. You want to get clear, because in every story, once people have identified the villain, there's typically a turning point or a moment of realization that they figure out a way. They don't know if it's going to work, but they figure out this aha, this epiphany, this like, oh my God, this is it. What is that turning point for them? Now, once you've discovered those things, right? Now we have character, profile, okay? We have the struggle, right? We have the villain and the turning point. Now we want to start to think about what's that transformation journey look like, okay? And so for most brands that I help with this, there is a short term, goal, a midterm goal, and a long-term goal. So for example, short-term goal, and like what I help people with, is I'll show people how to get inbound leads coming in consistently. That's very short-term. It'll happen short-term, right? Midterm goals, I'll show people how to get the consistent 20K per month, right? That's going to happen short-term or midterm. Long-term, I'll show them how to get to 30K per month and beyond and become in demand in their niche. Like that's long-term what I show people. You know, in this example with Mary that we're talking about, this 38-year-old, career-driven mom, maybe short-term, she breaks through a weight loss plateau and drops 10 pounds. Midterm, she's going to start to develop healthier habits and she's going to, drop 25 pounds. Maybe long-term, she's going to really be able to anchor this new routine and this new identity and become this like super fit mom that is managing her career, that pretty much has it all: career, body, health, role model, all of those things. So you want to be able to break down that journey, because in your marketing, it makes it really effective and it makes it way more believable when you're like Mary. Instead of just being like, you want to lose 30 pounds, you can like be able to better communicate and articulate the actual journey to her in a way that makes sense and that is more realistic in terms of like an actual story, right? Then you want to have your unique solution, right? There has to be a unique solution or a roadmap that your avatar can take. So, for example, in my business now, our unique solution is the client attraction system, right? And so we have 3 different phases people go through. This is the roadmap. We have a magic messaging makeover where we help them come up with the right words in the right ways to the right people, so that way they can start getting more of the right people to DM them and to respond to their stuff and opt in for things. Then we have what's called our strategic content ecosystem. We show them how to plug those right words into an actual strategic content ecosystem, so that way they can get more consistent and predictable inbound leads. And then we have what's called our value first conversion system, where we show people how to take that engagement, how to take those leads, and how to be able to provide it into a value first system to be able to convert new clients and sales predictably. That's the roadmap. People can easily see that when I attach it to the short-term goals. It makes logical sense, and I have proof to back it up. Right? So maybe in this example that we're using, it could be like my old one, right? The stubborn fat solution, right? So stubborn fat solution is how she's going to be able to achieve that journey. And we're going to, phase 1 is our flex food nutrition. We're going to help set her up with the right nutrition plan that works with her crazy busy lifestyle, so she's still able to eat with her family and she's able to get the right foods that are going to be able to work with her hormones and metabolism, not against them. Then we set her up with metabolic intensity training. These are going to be short burst workouts that involve progressive strength training that are going to allow her to build lean muscle, burn fat, and doing it in very minimal time. Then we're going to help set her up with some I'm making this last one up because it's different than what I used to do, but to go along with this example, some mind fuel habit formation or something like that, right? Where we're going to help her develop the right habits to instill, so that way she can keep these results for life. Right? So you want to have that roadmap, that unique mechanism in phases that you can walk people through. And usually having 3 to 4, maybe 5 max is what I would go through. I'm a big fan of 3, but some brands I help, they require more. They have more complex things that they're solving for people. But usually for like health and fitness and business and stuff like that, like 3 is usually pretty good, especially if you're good at what you do. You don't need more than 3, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. So now we have the character profile, we have the struggle, we have the villain and the turning point, we have the transformation journey, right? And then we have the unique solution, so we can give people a roadmap. One of the last things that I like to do here is have some kind of contrast and proof, right? And so you want to be able to clearly articulate who your ideal avatar is before, what their life looks like, and after what their life looks like, right? You want to be able to contrast the two. And so I have different frameworks and stuff that I share with my students, but long and short of it is you want to be like able to say it in a statement. It's almost like an elevator pitch, if you will, right? Where it's like, if you're a working mom, you have kids, and you're struggling with X, Y, and Z, and you have tried X, Y, and Z, nothing seems to be working, and maybe you believe this to be true, and These are the things that you want, right? Boom, 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 boom. And then you want to be able to contrast that with like, and all you want is this, and these are the things that you want to be able to do. You want to be able to have a quick workout routine that actually maximizes your results. You want to be able to eat what you want when you want, without having to worry about gaining weight. You want to be able to, right? And so you want to have that contrast, okay? That, if that makes sense. And then you want to be able to have some social proof. So I like to have some brand case studies. These aren't just for social media, but like that you can talk about in stories you can use across your brand, right? So I have a story that I always use with Leo. So Leo came to me. He was around like, he came to me at $1,500 in his business per month, but he had done like $8,000 to $10,000. It was just super inconsistent. And within 3 months of applying this framework, he was able to go to $33,000. I think he did like 1 month at like 16 and another month at like 20 something. And then he did 33,000. And then I think he did 38,000 or something like that. Right. And I have these like social proof stories that are like brand stories that they just sync perfectly with like the way the storyline has laid out. And the better your messaging is, the more of the right people you attract, the more you're going to see that the story actually unfolds just the way that you outlined it. It's freaking nuts. And so there's a little bit more to it than that. I tried to give you a little bit of the high level things that you can start to think through and really start to look at your own messaging and start to refine or make better, or perhaps create a little bit better of a storyline. Once you're done with this, there are messaging elements to it, meaning like there's certain ways that you want to communicate it. We have different frameworks that we teach people, the copywriting frameworks and content frameworks that we teach people how to plug this messaging into. We have something called the Magic Framework. We have the Vista Framework. A couple different ways that we go about like literally being able to take all your messaging, plug it directly into content, landing pages, emails, all that stuff like that. So you're able to create really high converting stuff. And so if you're interested in seeing any of that, I am going to be doing a workshop, and it's again, at the time I'm recording this, I think it's like in like 6 days. If you missed the workshop live, and we will have access to the recording, so I will do my best to make sure that it's here in the description. If it's not, feel free to just drop a comment and ask about the workshop. But I would love to know, going through this, again, we'll do a quick recap, but I'd love to know what you found most helpful, like what you found most insightful from today's video. I'd love to know. You could drop that in the comments. Here's the recap. Character profile. Who are you serving? Get super specific with an actual avatar, right? What is the external conflict? What is the internal turmoil they're going through? Then you want to really unpack that struggle, just like in any good story. What is the struggle? What are the complaints? What are the pain points? What are the symptoms? Okay, get specific. What actions are they taking to solve those problems? What limiting beliefs do they currently have? Get as specific as possible there, okay? And then we have the villain and the turning point, just like in any story. Name the villain. Is it the restrictive diet trap? Is it the content commodity trap, which is I talk about a lot? What is that epiphany? What is that aha? What is that turning point that you had and that other people have? You want to get really clear on it, right? Like that you don't need to just post content all day and DM 50 plus people, that you could just get really good at speaking your messaging and creating high converting content, strategic content. That's an aha, it's an epiphany. It's a belief that I know I need to get my audience to believe, right? Then you have the transformation journey. What's that short-term goal, the mid-term goal, and the long-term goal? Being able to clearly outline these are going to help you communicate better in your content, and it's actually follows suit of like how people think. Not going from I'm really fat to like I'm going to lose a bunch of weight, but being able to communicate the journey to people, it makes it A, more believable, and it makes it B, more realistic for people, right? Then you want to be able to come up with the unique solution. So you have a roadmap that you can literally show people, this is how we do it. So people could see concrete ways that they can actually do it, not just some abstract, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Then you want to have some contrast and proof. So you can have a before and kind of after that you could better communicate in your marketing, and you can create better social proof content when you truly understand and can clarify that contrast. Okay. And then of course there's the messaging elements and all that stuff. But again, if you want to see that, just I'll leave a link somewhere, or just reach out to me if you want to be able to get access to the Magic Messaging Workshop. And the promise of that workshop is we're going to show you exactly how to come up with your messaging so you could say the right words in a way that helps you get at least on average 10 to 15 inbound leads, quality inbound leads, organically every single week. So all done. Rue, are we done? Are we done? You want to say hi? There we go. So hope you have an amazing day. Remember, your message matters. Your story matters. Don't be afraid to speak it. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to click subscribe. As always, be seen, be heard, and be impactful.